So a lot of people who eat meat complain that vegans just never shut up. Now I don't like go out in the world and interact with people a whole lot. Maybe a lot of vegans are like that. I don't know. All I know is I only mention it when it's practical. You know, like I'm in a situation with other people and there's gonna be food and I need it to be known that I'm not gonna eat meat for some reason, you know? Then it comes up and I don't sit and chatter on about it. I just make my case known so that I don't get meat handed to me. Or whatever, different situations. A little different detail, but Okay, so I stopped eating meat in my early 20s. And so I was babysitting my brother's kids a lot, well, stepkids. And so over at his house, it would never fucking fail. Every time food came up and I was around, he'd have to start giving me shit about the fact that I don't eat meat. Like, ridiculing me, making fun of me, trying to make his stupid jokes and stuff, trying to, insult me or trying to bother me with the fact that he eats meat, rub it in my face and shit. He's just that kind of character. So, whatever, I'm at his house, so I take it, and, I don't fight or anything, but, I don't sit and jabber on about that I don't eat meat, but he sits and jabbers on about how he does. So that's been my experience with it more, is that meat eaters don't fucking shut up about how they eat meat when they're in the presence of somebody who doesn't. And it seems like there's this, automatic defense mechanism that gets triggered. Soon after I started eating meat, I went out with a guy, and we went to Sherry's. It was a restaurant in Oregon. And so I was looking over the menu, trying to find something without meat on it. And that somehow came up in the conversation, and then he immediately goes off on this thing, you're never going to make me a vegetarian. I'm never going to stop eating meat. And I was like, what the fuck? Why would you think I would make you do something? I'm just looking for something for myself to eat. It has nothing to do with you. If I wasn't okay with you eating meat, would I be on a date with you to begin with? Anyways. Not that I am okay with anybody eating meat. I'd much prefer they didn't. However, I don't have it in my head that I can change anybody. I can, control anybody. People are going to do whatever they're going to do. Anyway, so that's my experience with it. I think that, eating meat is a shit thing to do. Kill animals when you don't need to. There's plenty of other stuff to eat that's actually yummier and better, at least in my experience. As soon as I stopped eating meat, I realized everything I was missing out on with food. With meat always in the center of the plate, and everything else being secondary to it, you're missing out on so many flavors, combinations, and just so much richness that food has to offer. I mean, not everybody. I'm sure there's plenty of people who eat meat that have, a very varied, rich diet, but there's a lot of people that just kind of eat the standard American sad diet. And that's what I mean, you don't realize what you're missing out on. As soon as I stopped eating meat, started cooking my own food, stopped eating what my mom was making, because it was always with me, I had to start cooking for myself. So, yeah. I've never enjoyed food more since I stopped eating meat. It's amazing. And the more vegan options I've tried over time, because I've slowly gravitated more and more towards vegan over the years, the better it gets. I was just at the store the other day, and I was buying some vegan sausages, and the lady that was ringing up my groceries, she was like, oh man, these are so good. I never even liked sausages. I never liked sausage until I tried these, and I was like, I know, it's the same for me. I never fucking liked sausage, but these vegan things are freaking delicious. And it's the same for most of the vegetarian meats. They're actually yummier than real meat because it lacks that whole morbid, dead flesh, icky aroma to it, you know, the aroma of death. I've never liked it. So, I don't know. The plant versions are just much cleaner, much better energy to them. They're not necessarily healthy. I mean, a lot of them do have wheat gluten, and that's not good for you, right? Or soy, and that's not good for you. But it's better for you than fucking dead animal flesh. You know, you consider the phrase, you are what you eat. Do you want to be a dead, tortured carcass? Because that's what you're going to turn into eventually. Even faster on a high meat diet, so. Yeah, there's a lot of asshole vegans, but there's even more asshole meat eaters in the world, okay? I mean, they try to make the argument that just, you know, there's a lot of dipshit vegans. Well, yeah, there are, but look at how many dipshits there are in general, meat eating or otherwise. That's just the general human population. It doesn't really have anything to do with their diet. Although, when I stopped eating meat, my life changed for the better. And I don't mean the circumstances of my life. I mean, those did change over time, but I mean just the quality of my life, you know? It just seemed like senses opened, sensitivity increased, the richness of life was enhanced in some way. It was shortly after that I started looking into crop circles and found out about the conspiracy and all that interesting shit. So, anyways, that's not necessarily related, but it might have been. Also, on mushrooms once, I realized something about food, and this was long before the whole raw food craze started. Okay, because my partner, we were on a trip together, and he handed me crackers, and I was like, nah, I don't want the crackers. And then he handed me an apple, and I was like, I'll take the apple. And then I realized why the apple was more appealing was because it was alive. It was actually going to add to my own life force, whereas the crackers were dead and processed, and I could sense how they would actually absorb my life force as they were traveling through my body. And so ever since then, I just kind of intuitively understood why live foods are better for you. And why I always kind of more intuitively, even as a kid, was more interested in like having carrots, you know, like the baby carrots you dip in ranch. I was more interested in having something like that for a snack than fucking potato chips. But I was a weird kid, sensitive and all that. So, anyways, this has gone on long enough. That's my little spiel on that. Goodbye.